After that, we then get into some of the slightly more recent stuff. So, obviously, the really, really early stuff includes Unholy Persecution, The Poison Chalice, Words Form Blades EP, the Corpus Delicti EP, plus there's the Fostering a Demon EP as well, and also a few other albums such as Psychopathic Remains, Carnival of Chaos, and my double concept album, Tapestry of Torment. So they're pretty much the first sort of crop of albums that I did. Very, very early, very, very primitive raw production, but it has a really, really good mix of musical styles on there. And there's some really, really good songs and albums to be found there, guys. Make sure you listen to all of it, because there's quite a lot of it there, but there's a lot of really, really good stuff there that I think you'll be very, very interested to discover. Last year, at the start of last year, we did an album called Suicide Misanthropy, which was a fantastic album, a little bit different to the normal stuff, which was a bit more sort of somber and melodic. Also, this year we've had Cease to Exist, Faust, and that's basically been the start of the Dungeon Synth albums. So there's a hell of a lot of stuff to cover, really, guys. I really think you'll find something that you enjoy. Recently, I've been working on some newer stuff as well, which has all been Dungeon Synth as well. Which basically started with Grotesca, which was the first free album I've done since the first one. And then basically we've also released the Zealots of the Nether albums, which are sort of exclusive to Heathens Club members. And I've also got a number of things coming up next year as well. So as I've said, that includes an EP, a full-length album, and another surprise release as well. Plus, I've got a hell of a lot more stuff lined up for the rest of 2020 as well. So as you can see, guys, I'm always constantly at work, creating music in various different forms. None of it's very particularly mainstream. It's usually a very, very unorthodox mix of instrumental music, lo-fi recording, and very, very sort of either sort of atonal or basically, like I say, unorthodox sounds. So a lot of it's guitar-based or synthesizer-based. None of it contains vocals, and a lot of it basically centres around all of the different disgusting parts of humanity. So the name itself, Infernal Symphony, refers to the sounds of music being played in hell. So if you were to live in hell or be actually residing in hell, this is the sort of music that you would expect to hear during your stay there. So that's pretty much what that entails, really. The actual music itself has all sorts of different things going on in it. There's usually some very, very interesting drum work. There's usually some absolutely phenomenal showboating guitar work in there as well, and guitar soloing. I have some pretty confident and competent rhythm guitar. There's usually a lot of weird different shifting in terms of the start to the finish of the song. There's loads of different sort of layering of tracks. There's like a wall of sound approach that I tend to employ. And generally, it sounds unlike anything you've really probably ever heard before, particularly for an underground, unsigned one-man project as well. So I'm definitely wholeheartedly very, very sort of excited to give you new releases all the time. It's something I've been very, very passionate about. I've always been of the opinion that most bands take far too long to produce content of any worth. Including, really, really big bands kind of get a bit too big for their boots and take far too long, years upon years, to give you new albums and new content. And that's something I've always been against. So my approach has been to do as much as possible, as high quality as possible. And that's something I think I've definitely achieved very, very well over the past 3 years or so. I have actually been writing Infernal Symphony music for the past 5 years, although it took me 2 years to put out the first album because I wanted to record a whole breadth of stuff and have it all ready before I even decided to start showcasing it. So that's one of the reasons that's kind of enabled me to continuously have a steady stream of content coming out all the time. And that shows no signs of slowing down anytime soon. If, in actual fact, as I said earlier, it seems like things are actually speeding up. Because currently I think I have around about 5 or 6 albums in the planning stages to come out next year already, and that's only going to be added to more and more as time goes on. So hopefully you guys will definitely find something of interest there. You'll definitely find something interesting to listen to, and it doesn't really matter what kind of metal that you prefer, really. There's bound to be something there for you. My particularly personal recommendations